So what can we learn from the politician Emmanuel Macron, who is the current Président de France, or de la France, the President of France? So I think some of the things that we can learn from him are the importance of self-belief, absolutely. There's a really fantastic book by Sophie Peder called Révolution Française, the story of Emmanuel Macron. And in this book, I think there's a very interesting little story about her interview with some of his high school friends, and they said that one of the chief things that he is able to do is to get other people to think he's actually more capable and smart than he may be. But there are so many things that we can learn from Emmanuel Macron. What are other things? So I think the way he came to power is very interesting. So he put together a grassroots movement of volunteers, and this system of volunteers he put together who went door to door and asked French people, hey, what are you thinking about? What is important to you? And what's on your mind? What are you proud about as a Frenchman or a French woman? What makes you sad about it? And then he got all of this information, and he used computer algorithms to get a sense of what people on the street cared about. And he did this, if I'm not mistaken, he did it like a year and a half before the election of president, before the presidential election. And I can't remember how many now, but I think it was either 4,000 or 20,000 volunteers. I think it was about 4,000 volunteers, if I'm not mistaken. And what it also did, he was a banker, and he also was an economics. He was basically like the French equivalent of the Secretary of Treasury, our Secretary of Treasury. So he had a little bit of experience politically, but not very many people knew him. Certainly not like the majority of the nation of France. So he was able to go using this kind of grassroots force of volunteers from this image of a banker to this image of somebody of the people and who's actually interested in what people have to say. And that was very smart of him, because otherwise he wouldn't have had the street cred of that was given to him from all of these people, 4,000 people combing villages and the streets of larger cities and smaller cities. Anyway, so that was another clever thing he did. He studied how to rise politically. He also, my impression of him is that he's incredibly focused and incredibly intense, and he was also all along and even like as a 17-year-old, 16-year-old kid, very independent-minded. An example of this is that he actually married his drama teacher from high school, who was something like either 20 years older or something like that. And it was obviously, that's not the typical choice you make. And for a young person like that, I think what can we learn from Emmanuel Macron in that particular anecdote from his life is that he doesn't really care so much about what people think. He certainly has a very broad vision. By broad, I mean he has a vision of what is actually important, and it's following your own voice and your own inclination as to what will help you in life. That's definitely something he does. What else can we learn about Emmanuel Macron? Bottom line, I think, is it goes back to the first thing, the level of self-belief that he has, which projects authority. It projects the presidential mystique. and presidential grandeur necessary for the specific French psychology for it to actually work politically. In addition to Révolution Française by Sophie Petter, there are some very, very good documentaries that you can watch if you're interested in learning more about him. Anyone can learn a great deal about politics today by studying his life. So you can, if you're interested in politics, whether for yourself in your own political career or just politics in general, if you're interested in success and who isn't, his life, what can we learn from? We can learn a great deal. That's it. See ya.